So I am here at Canal Fulton, lock number 4. And this is the 4th lock from Akron, where the canal starts at a huge lake called Summit Lake that is a self-fed lake, and it has new water every 3 days. The narrative is that it's glacier meltage, but I think about water a lot and how the earth creates its own water, and the fact that they had the knowledge that that lake would constantly feed an endeavor such as a canal to build all these locks based off of undeniable knowledge that the lake at the top of the canal would feed it forever. And that fascinates me as to if they built this canal in the time frame that they said they did, where did they acquire that knowledge to know that that lake would never stop regenerating water, to put the money and resources into building a canal during that time period? And that narrative just doesn't sit well with me. I think it's more that this canal was originally built in the previous civilization, and it was just inherited by the ones in the late 1800s who were starting to try to rebuild the system and just take over what was already here. So based off of that inherited knowledge of a lake producing non-stop flow of water, a lake, the earth feeding that lake, and every 3 days it has new water, based off knowing that knowledge from the previous civilization, they took over this canal. And it was said that concrete was replaced. It was originally built by brick, built like all the other ones that I've been filming, but this one was replaced with concrete in 1908. So all this water comes from a lake. And I'm going to visit that lake. It's not much to see these days. It used to be one of the biggest attractions in Akron in the early 1800s and up to the 1950s. It was, old world carnivals and festivals were held there at the Summit Lake. And it once had the biggest swimming pool on the world. So they inherited that lake and its carnival system, and even up into the 1950s, people were going to this lake that feeds the canal over 308 miles. So Summit County is in the middle of Cleveland and then southern Ohio. Summit County is where Summit Lake is. Summit County would feed the canal this way and this way, because Summit County is the high point. And it just so happens that Summit County, where Akron is, the area code is 330. 33.0. I think we all know what that would mean. So this is a little bit small, but to show you what I was just talking about, here is Summit Lake, 395 feet above sea level. And this lake is basically a watershed for the whole canal, south and north into Lake Erie right here, and Cleveland, sea level land. And this is the Summit Lake, the high point, Summit County, 330. And that fed the whole canal. So what fascinates me is that they had the knowledge that this one little lake would constantly be renewed every 3 days with new water, enough water to feed a 308-mile canal system across the whole state, which was already here, and they inherited it. And as you can see here, the state of Ohio, and this is the canal system. Starting here in the north, where Cleveland is, Lake Erie here, and then on a flat earth, just tilt that up, and then you have this. So this is down to Cleveland. From there, down to Cleveland. High point here in Akron, Summit County. Summit Lake, the magical lake from God. Never ending, just earth just keeps producing its own water. There's no such thing as a water shortage ever. Earth makes it, the same with oil. And then on a flat earth, boom, Summit County high point, and then back downhill to Columbus, and then all the way past Columbus, and all the way down to the Ohio River. So this whole canal system could only work on a flat earth. On a ball, this would never work. You put all this around on a ball, and this whole canal system wouldn't work. So this is just a flat earth design. Knowledge of the flat earth is how this was designed. It's one of my biggest flat earth proofs. And I live right by this part of the system of the canal. All these locks. And it just fascinates me that Akron being in the middle, well, not the middle, but the middle point between here in Cleveland, that the water would flow from Akron downhill to Cleveland. Cleveland is north of Akron. And on the fake ball model, that would be traveling uphill, but in reality, the canal flows downhill to Cleveland from Akron, from the Summit Lake that feeds the canal. And then it would also travel downhill south, where we are here, because Akron is the high point. So, much like the Cuyahoga River that starts in Cleveland and travels uphill to Akron and then back down into Lake Erie, this canal travels downhill to Cleveland from basically spring water. And these canals just lowered the boats gently downhill for 8 hours to level land, which is Cleveland. Sea level land, Cleveland. When they took back over this canal I think originally anything that used it in the old world was self-powered. But in the 1800s, when they were starting back over, they used mules to pull these boats 4 miles per hour down the canal or up the canal. And 4 miles per hour was actually the speed limit. And these mules pulled along this path, and it's called the tow path, and it travels the entirety of the canal, and it is now some areas of the tow path are extremely busy with runners and bikers and walkers, but you can walk, run, bike the whole thing through the whole canal. The whole tow path goes the entirety of the canal, but the mules pulled it, and the speed limit was 4 miles per hour. And they actually had ways of knowing if you were going faster than 4 miles per hour. It was like any industry, you know. The sooner you get there, you can make more money because sooner you can get back. But they would have people standing at different locks and timing how long it would take a boat to get from one lock to the other. And they knew going 4 miles per hour, it should only take a certain amount of time. So if they arrived there sooner, they were actually given a speeding violation and fined. And then eventually the railroad system that was put in put the canal out of business. And the canal was a huge part in how the railroad was built by transporting all the supplies. So the canal built its own replacement. And then what ultimately made the canal completely useless was a flood in 1913 here in this area. And can't remember the exact details, but it was said that it was 20 days of rain, and that they had to blow up some of the locks to control the flood, because the canal was actually jamming up the waters and destroying the cities. And that ultimately was the nail in the coffin for the canals. They just didn't go back to them. So the narrative is that it's 20 days of rain, but you can write anything. I wasn't there. I'll leave that up to your guys' imagination, what they could have actually done to flood this canal to purposely put it out of commission and move on to the other technology that they already had in store, the locomotive. And I'll take you to one of those one day. And just a little diagram of where we are here. And as I was talking about Summit County being 330 and Cleveland being sea level land, and also area code 216, which equals 666. Where this lock is here in Canal Fulton, which is Canton, Ohio, it's called Stark County. And I'm just realizing that it's Ark and Star. Ark Star. Interesting. Or just simply said, Star Ark. Hidden in plain sight right there. Star Ark. Stark County. Star Ark County. You know, and Ark can be taken in different ways. You know, the Ark of the Covenant, of course, Noah's Ark. And even a firmament, an ark. And also, arc is electrical. It's the current between. It's the arc. You know, so the arc, if it's the arc, like the firmament, that's where the stars are. The Star Ark. The firmament is the Star Ark. Interesting that this county is called that. To look into that more. And then, as I was just talking about, Cleveland, level land, sea level land, Akron being Summit County, the high point. And then where I was just at was Canal Fulton, which is south, right here. South of Akron, and it's Stark County. Star Ark. And it just so happens that I took these pictures of the stars in our ark, in our firmament. And you'll notice that they all have the same geometry to them. That octagon in the middle. And as they're in the firmament, they emanate light and electricity and energy. But they always maintain this octagon, and this part actually flows around that octagon. They're like a living cell. Angels in the sky, diamonds in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. And during the time period when I was taking these pictures of these stars, they started communicating to me and actually asked me to back off. They're actually kind of shy and they like their privacy. So I did. But I did catch these images, these beautiful souls from God, our schematics in the sky, in our Star Ark. But as always, my friends, there's a lot of evil in the world. Lucy is doing everything he can do to control people's perceptions. Remember, he can't create anything, but he's a master manipulator. So guard the gates of your mind and your heart. Keep that relationship with God. Keep that line open. And if you're not doing magic to yourself, something is or will for you. God bless you guys.
All the stars I gave to you, you threw them right back to the sky. All the stars I gave to you, you threw them right back to the stars. I cut the ground above my feet. Now I'm standing on the sky. not there. I caught the ground above my feet. Now I'm standing on the sky. I see you. It's not as high as I thought. I see you. I see you. Angels are falling. It's just the stars in the ceiling. All the angels are falling. It's just the stars in our